Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo highlights key takeaways from the government's regional visits. The primary goal was to engage with local contractors and regional administrations to address policy issues, emphasize adherence to procurement laws, and ensure transparency. The officials discussed the need for improved training for contractors, the importance of keeping procurement opportunities within the regions to build local capacity, and measures to prevent manipulation of the bidding process. They also highlighted new policies, including prohibiting multiple contract awards to the same entity, mandating declarations of interest for government officials, and implementing penalties for poor performance. The visit aimed to enhance the transparency and efficiency of government contracts and support smaller, local contractors. Here is more from that press conference.
For those of you who have been following the news, you would have seen that earlier this week, I went to two regions, regions 5 and 6, and I was accompanied by Minister Ashni Singh and Minister Wanenjil. The primary purpose of that visit was to engage with the contractors who work in that region, or those regions, and also with the regional administration, to first of all outline our policies, to speak about some of the transgressions that we observe have been taking place in those regions and in many other regions, and to say to them that these would not be tolerated. Now that we have made that clear to both the regional administrations in these two regions and the contractors, we intend to follow this up with technical teams to the two regions to ensure that what we spoke of would be faithfully observed, and secondly, that people are going to be trained similar to what we offered in Essequibo Coast, so that they don't have any excuse of ignorance about the procurement laws of the country in the execution of their duties. The message was similar to what we delivered on the Essequibo Coast, which is that that we want to, as far as possible, ensure that the procurement opportunities of the region remain in those regions so that we can build capacity with regional contractors, as we have done right across Guyana, particularly for the small projects. And that we expect that the procurement process must be transparent and lawful, meaning that it must be in full compliance with the Procurement Act. We also made it clear that we are aware that some people are thwarting the goal of the government, which is to ensure that we have many new contractors and to allow them to work so that we can incubate a new set of contractors and share the vast opportunities now unfolding to as many people as possible. They're doing that by identifying or incorporating multiple companies and bidding on projects, so that when the contract awards are made, sometimes in a single household, you could have several contracts being awarded, and that defeats the purpose. Not that it's illegal in itself, but it defeats the purpose of what we are trying to achieve. And so we are going to prohibit this. We've made it clear that government agencies and government officials, particularly if they're in positions of influence to steer the contracts, that they must first of all declare their interests, and secondly, they must not participate in the bidding process if they're in some positions where they're directly involved in the adjudication and award of the bids. And for other government officials who are in the region but maybe not related to the process, who may have companies or may have their family, their own companies, then these too have to declare their interests. Because often people in the villages and the wards in the cities and maybe the towns, they see these individuals getting contracts or their family members, and they believe that they would have influenced the outcome of the award. And this is a problem. We pointed out about shoddy work, not building according to the specification by contractors, that we intend to put in place liquidating damages, that we will start blacklisting people for not doing their work on time or doing it bad work, not completing projects. So I've outlined this before, and I think it was widely reported about what was said at the meeting. So it's not anything new. The message is the same right across the country, but ensuring that we have more people. What you will observe that you would not have observed in 2020 is that in the rooms in the regions, the two regions, you had large numbers of contractors, maybe combined about 700 contractors in those two regions alone who attended the meeting, and many of them get small work. If you had done that, if you had gone to a similar meeting, if APNU had dared to hold a meeting and speak openly about the fraud that took place in their time, of course, they didn't do that, and they would have never done it like we're doing now. You would have seen just a small smattering of people, just a small amount of people, and many of them politically connected people. Like in Berbice, I remember the same thing, the concerns about one of the AFC members, Derek Basdeo, being given a large contract to weed the whole region. That contract now, if it's given out, would probably be split into maybe 15 different contracts, so that many small contractors can benefit from it, the weeding and cleaning of parapets. But one man got a contract for $160 million to do the whole of Berbice, weeding the shoulders of the road. I think that was it. So a totally different approach, and large numbers of people, but smaller people. And we spoke about the need to go to rates too, so people work for rates. It avoids the bidding process. We pointed out that we had removed the bid security bond to get new contractors to start bidding up to $15 million. And this has led to a large number of contractors doing this. We're working with them to even out and to smooth the process through which they get their NIS compliances, etc. So we spoke of all of this at the meeting there, and I expect that more people now would continue to benefit from the award of contracts. You had, if you look at the audience too, you will see a mixed group of people, Guyanese of every race, who are benefiting from this approach by the PPP government. And I dare say even for Afro-Guyanese contractors, in Berbice you have maybe 1,000% more than you had on the APNU in Berbice and the two regions. So what we had intended is working. Now, often when I speak here, we tend to focus a lot on what's happening around the city or in Region 4 or Region 3, because we live here, we're based here. And we don't speak often to the people in Berbice and other regions about what's taking place in their communities. And because in every region, we have a plan for the development of that region. In Region 10, we have a plan for the development of that region that encompasses almost every sector. So too in Region 6. So today I just want to remind people that apart from what we have done to breathe life back into that region, because that region was dying under APNU. It was dying because they sent home over 4,000 sugar workers from Berbice alone, and 7,000 across the country. And sugar was the biggest source of disposable income. So if you remove the biggest source of disposable income, it affected everything else. People who have shops in New Amsterdam, or the vendors, or the market people, or the taxi drivers, the hairdressers, everyone. Disposable income was cut significantly in Berbice, and that is why it was practically dying. There was malaise. Every time I visited that county in opposition, you heard of the woes. People were looking for jobs. They couldn't find jobs. People were complaining. We saw truancy increased again. People were dropping out of school. People couldn't afford to send their kids to school because they just lost their job. There was no social safety net. They were not getting any help from the government. And on top of that, the cost of living was going up because of higher taxes. Higher taxes on water, electricity, data, all of that stuff. So that was the happening in Berbice. Today, it is a very different place. If you go there, you have labor shortages. People complain about labor shortages. One fisherman got up at the meeting that I was there and he said, I want to talk about the fishing industry. And it was at a meeting with the contractors. And he said, the government is not paying enough attention to this. I can't find laborers now to work. He is complaining that he can't find people to work in the industry anymore. We met with some poultry producers. One guy who was the largest poultry producer in Berbice, he said, I had 500 staff. I can't find people now to work on my farm. I brought some Amerindians to work there. I brought people from other regions to work, and then they move on to higher paying jobs in the region. I've lost all my labor now. So he is going out of production because of scarcity of labor in a region that had massive unemployment. More women are working. You have over 4,000 women working through the part-time job. We have had more people employed back at Gaisuko. On the private development alone, the housing program, you have thousands of others who are working. So it is a different place today. They're working, they're earning more disposable income in that region, unlike what took place under APNU. We're making significant investments in the region. We've just awarded two contracts, four-lane road from New Amsterdam all the way to Molson Creek. There are 3 lots. 2 lots have been awarded at the cost of about $400 million. But that road will change Berbice too. And as I was explaining at the meeting, even wherever we put the Deepwater Harbor now, because There are some issues now with the mouth of the river, too much sedimentation. So we're looking now at a causeway proposal, which you'd build out into the Atlantic to the deep so that we don't have to have dredging costs. So now that road, the 4-lane road, would be crucial to moving goods and services along that corridor, the whole Berbice corridor. And we believe that there'd be more migration of the oil and gas industry to that region. Maybe if the large gas, second monetization of gas project comes on shore, it will come on shore in Berbice, because that's the ideal location, given that more of our gas finds have been in the Haimar area and Pluma. So we believe that the road is critical there. We're putting in more solar power now, like we're going to do in Essequibo and in Linden. We already have the contract out for, I think it's about over 10 megawatts of solar power in Berbice. We're going to upgrade the transmission main which we haven't gone out to, from Georgetown, from the control center all the way to Berbice. So that we can move a lot of the power, or more of the power, more reliably to that part of the country once the gas to energy project comes on stream. As you know, we're building the Guyana Technical Training College at Port Morant. That's a massive construction. We have 2 programs that would be housed in that: the Oil and Gas Training Institute and the Hospitality Institute, because we need to train about 3,000 people to work in the hotels that are going to start coming on stream next year. Right here in Region 4, it will be done there. 24 persons who are already trained. They're already working in the oil and gas sector, and we'll have hundreds more trained there. That was started. You know, we're building two hospitals, one at number 75 for 30 million US, and another one in New Amsterdam for 160 million US dollars. Both major hospitals that would transform healthcare in Berbice. We built 2 call centers, one at Palmyra that's already started working, and they've employed 85 persons there, and then another one at number 75, the other end. There's a stadium being built there. Albion is being upgraded to play international cricket. We've spent $471 million in 62 facilities of the 125 grounds across the country. This year we've assigned another $400 million to continue the work. That would be all the grounds in Berbice, including all the grounds in New Amsterdam, right across Berbice. The football, cricket grounds, we're working now on expanding sports there. We're looking at doing 15 new cokers. They're building 2 Hope-like canals in Berbice, and 2 north to south canals at number 51, 52, and the Lancaster Wemy area that would, and with a southern embankment and internal drains that would help to alleviate flooding in that area by managing the waters coming from the backlands, similar to the Hope Canal, and would bring relief to thousands of farmers in those areas and bring more lands into productive use. These are just some of the things. I can go on to talk about the Berbice plan, and this is all happening now, apart from the move to get better, the core things: more jobs, better health care, better quality education, changing people's lives there. We're still going to do that bridge across the Berbice River, similar to the one that we're doing here in Demerara, a fixed high structure bridge that would allow the use of the river by vessels going under with no need for them to open, and that's on the card. So I just wanted to draw some attention back to some of the things that are happening there in Berbice, because sometimes we don't talk enough about what happens in the regions. And then you get accusations that, oh, we only focus on Region 4 and we're only doing things in Georgetown or the East Bank or in Region 3. But our plans cater for the entire country.
Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments section. What do you think are the most important steps the government should take to ensure transparency in the procurement process? How do you feel about the new policy prohibiting multiple contract awards to the same entity? Will this help smaller contractors? Why or why not? Do you believe improved training for contractors will lead to better compliance with procurement laws? What additional measures could be implemented to support this? What impact do you think mandatory declarations of interest for government officials will have on the bidding process? How effective do you think penalties for poor performance will be in improving the quality of government contracts? Are there other methods you'd suggest?